Hello there, this is Maximodum. Last you saw, probably the last you saw of this channel, was 4 months ago. I posted a video where I showcased a barely functioning in relation to what's going on now prototype of a Star Wars conversion for Quicksilver's Invade and Annex. As of right now, I'm configuring this for Ghost Division and Vote On use. However, it is my full intent to release the files onto GitHub for wider community use. It's just I want to get those files complete and ready to use before I go full force in releasing the files to GitHub. I want to make sure everything's squared away and it doesn't feel like a buggy mess, which in its current form right now, I have to be frank, it kind of does, as finished as it is in relation to what I had 4 months ago. So the majority of my work up to this point has been configuring the Quicksilver arsenal. I have been told that if I had used ACE arsenal, it would have gone significantly quicker. I do not believe so. I think the reason it took so long to get it configured to where I think the reason it took so long to get it configured to this point was because I didn't really know what I was doing, leading to a lot of times where I had to go back and search for a comma that I forgot, or I created a logic error by mistake. That actually happened with binoculars at one point or another. I had them in the same category as radios, which, if you know anything about scripting in Arma, you'll know that binoculars are technically considered a weapon. That being said, that was the majority of my work up until that point. I had actually put the HQ together. However, the way that the HQ is handled has completely changed since that video. In the video 4 months ago, the HQ was spawned. It was already pre-built in the editor. In the Eden editor. And to be quite frank, it served its purpose as being an FOB. However, it made things like spawning the LAATs to be quite difficult, because I essentially figured out that I could not simply place the LAATs on these stands. I had to script them to spawn here, and the only way I could do that was to turn custom base off. And what that basically means is if I go into parameters.sqf, you'll see that base layout base layout equals 0 basically means I use the integrated base that comes with Invade and Annex. And as you can see, this is the file that's running right now. If I had it set to 1, it would be a custom base. However, the only things that were carried over from the mission file were actually the platforms. Everything else is spawned in with a file. If I can find it here again. Nope, I've lost it. Quicksilver data mission objects.sqf, and that basically tells the server how to spawn all of these objects. It was a very painful process. I had to copy over coordinate data points basically to the 1000th, which gets down to the millimeter level. Was it worth it? Probably not. Probably it might have been. Truth be told, it probably was necessary, probably something I was going to have to do at one point or another, but it's done now, and now the only problems that I'm having are to do with general gameplay. So here I've got my to-do list, which includes I'm still transferring things over. I've got things to do. I've got to add boats and markers for the boats because there are, I don't think there are actually any boats at that dock down there. Oh. Yeah, no, there are no boats down at this dock. So I need to replace the ones that were there with the Operation Trebuchet boats, simply because I've kind of got to have Operation Trebuchet on this server for things like warthogs, because warthogs, Hammets, things that Star Wars doesn't really have a good stand-in for. And that includes the main battle tank, which I've got spawned here. They're all in a dynamically set spawn configuration, so they spawn as a unsimulated object, and you kind of have to walk up to them until the game activate this vehicle. The same thing with the LAATs, because I was having trouble getting them to spawn if they were a constantly simulated vehicle, but that comes with a nasty side effect of that. And, so on and so forth, yada, yada, yada. I've also got problems with I've got a full list of known server issues here. Most of which, I believe, well, at least one or two of which can be dealt with by hard-coding the server add-on difficulty settings, namely NVGs and thermals. I've had problems with ACE Medical as well, to the point where I'm using ACE No Medical right now, which unfortunately interrupts the server the integrated server restart. It interrupts that because whenever you log on, it throws an error. Oh fuck! I do believe I've screwed myself over. Shit. Well, that aside, I can just show you around the rest of the place with Zeus. So, a persistent problem I've been having is vehicle and crate loading. It's done right now with a script, you might have seen it earlier, data vehicles.txt. It would normally be an SQF. The main ones I'm having problems with are the Huron containers. The last four here do not seem to want to spawn. I'm also having a problem with the LAATs. The LAATs actually can't sling load anything right now, which I don't know what that problem is. NPCs aren't performing animations, so you may have seen just a second ago I had some Coruscant Guard units over here. They are supposed to be doing animations, but no, they refuse to do them. These guys are guarding Gitmo, so that's where you'll dump your prisoners of war. I've also got Ghost Division Observation over here in our briefing room for when Ghost Division, has game nights, pretty much. It's also meant to be used as kind of a hangout location, kind of like cool imagery and stuff, just so people, when they're sitting in these chairs and looking at the live feed of other people playing, which you can do, by the way, they'll have something to look at that isn't just the everybody else playing. It will also help people recognize, like, there's an arsenal in here, so if one of the problems that we have with regular Invade and Annex is if you've got a player who's playing Army Barbie and they're taking 5 minutes, 5 minutes too long to basically sort their kits out. Those guys who are playing Army Barbie can actually do it like right in here, rather than out here where the rest of the arsenals are, just so that they don't spend 5 minutes like holding up a troop transport that might be headed to an AO and would be waiting for them. You know, just to get that seen to. I've also got arsenals over here by the helo pilot and fighter pilot areas. I believe I'm having some trouble with this laptop right here, not necessarily doing what it's supposed to do. That's supposed to be the CAS. That's supposed to be the CAS laptop that allows. Yeah, no, I'm still locked in that position. That's supposed to be the CAS laptop that allows the fighter pilot to spawn different aircraft. I've also got to make some changes to the scripted artillery. Yeah, the scripted artillery has been causing me some problems for a while. Simply to do with how the Sierra missile launcher actually works. Quicksilver has the Sholef to be set in one position all the time, and that's, you know, right exactly where that is on that platform, right in the middle there. The Sierra missile launcher, however, not really. So I've got to fix that problem. Let's see, what else do I have here on the to-do list? Better inventory causes an issue for radios to be unequipped. I might just scrap the idea of including better inventory altogether, but I don't want to because it's, you know, better. Arsenal search mod might function. Here, let me... Here, I'll respawn. That'll work. Surely to God, it'll work. So if you don't know how Arsenal search works, you just walk up, you select the Arsenal, Control F. I thought it was Control F. Configure add-ons. Why isn't Arsenal search here? I don't see why it wouldn't be Control F though, because it's F to change the firing mode. Huh. I guess Control F does the same thing. But, for all intents and purposes, that holds true. That Arsenal search doesn't function. I'm going to have to look into that. Vehicles and crates take abnormally long to load in. It occurred to me while I was preparing for this video that it might be down to all of these respawn timers being something like 300. I'm actually gonna have to go in and, you know, balance those out. The LAAT C in particular takes way too long to load in my opinion. But one piece of evidence to the contrary is when the server is first starting, this LAAT C or this LAAT LE doesn't take nearly as long to load as this one, and they both have the same 30-second respawn timer. And again, you know, crates, similar issue. They're having trouble spawning in. Not really a whole lot of issue with the vehicles on the other hand. Not really a whole lot of issue with the vehicles on the other hand. They're pretty well spawning in just as I would need them to. The one thing that I haven't really done is test them all for when they're activated. Do they bounce around the place abnormally? Yeah, like that one kind of bounces up and down a little bit. I think that's just something I'm gonna have to increase the spawn height by more than a millimeter or two. Like maybe, yeah, that looks to be around like 10 centimeters. So if I increase it by 5 or 10 centimeters, it shouldn't bounce up and down like that, because that could cause quite a bit of issue if the back corner hits the ceiling of this place, or the wall, I guess. I also have yet to configure the anti-aircraft battery, which is supposed to be right here, and it gets removed. It gets removed every time the server starts up. I initially believed that I could include that within the... I initially believed I could include that within the mission file as well, the mission.sqm. I am very incorrect in that. As for... I believe that's all I wanted to really talk about. Those are all things that I didn't mention that. For some odd reason, the LAATs can't actually be serviced where they're supposed to be able to be serviced. So if I just get this one, another problem, ACE interaction allows non-pilots to enter the pilot seat, which, you know, they could enter the co-pilot seat fairly fine in regular Invade and Annex, so long as there are less than, I believe it's 25 players on the server. But, you know, it's still a problem that I'm going to have to address eventually. So if I just land here and I get out, thank you, Invade and Annex. Very cool. So that's gonna have to be something that I need to tinker with. I'll try it again with this LAAT. Yeah. See, if you try to use the vanilla scroll menu, you can't actually enter. You can enter as a co-pilot, and then you have to take the controls. But that's a feature only intended for low server population, which, to be entirely fair, this is Star Sim. It's fairly niche. Low server population is very much a possibility. It might just be better in the long run to let people access the pilot seat with ACE interaction. But until further notice, it is 100% a plan to disable that. All right, let's see. Service. You lying asshole. So if I'm in the vehicle, it works. But if I'm out of the vehicle... Well, if I get out of the vehicle now... I might have been testing up the LAAT LE. I can't necessarily remember, but one way or the other. There we go. We've got our service pad. And I will quickly demonstrate to you what I mean by the sling loading not working. I could hover over these until I'm blue. What the fuck was that? I could hover over these and mash B until I'm fucking blue in the face, but they refuse to latch to the underside of this. Negligible. No, it's not negligible, because you need those crates to supply the forward operating bases. What am I talking about? Other issues. I've got to configure the AA spawning. I've actually got to complete something with the arsenal because a classification thing changed early in actually getting this mission converted. I asked my division lead if he would rather... basically how he wanted rocket launches to be done, because I could stay blue and true to the... original Invade and Annex and allow medics to carry disposable rocket launchers, or I could do it the sensible way and... Oh, well, that's nice. Or I could do it the sensible way and have it classified based on have it classified based on like guided launchers, unguided launchers, and then the only classes that would be able to carry those would be the only ones that would be able to carry those would be light anti-tank, heavy anti-tank, yada yada yada. I find the ragdolling in this game so funny. So, like I say, disposables can be carried by, I believe, engineers and mortar gunners, simply because they make things go boom anyway. So I don't see the downside in letting them carry a disposable. Medic obviously can't carry it. Light anti-tank can carry unguided fire support. And heavy anti-tank can carry guided fire support against armored vehicles and aircraft. That's pretty much the only distinction. Let's see, what else do I have here? This is basically my notes. So... on the to-do list for... This is only the Blue 4 side, pretty much. And I've already gone on... How long is this recording? This recording is already 21 minutes, so that's nice. I need to be more concise. So I have to turn off vanilla voice chat. If I go into... Oh, well, that actually works. Side channel... Aha, yeah, there it goes. You need a radio to transmit over radio channels. Well, that's the vanilla thing. If you see down in the corner here, I have TFAR connected. So all I need is a CWP8, and I can control P. Basic TFAR stuff. I'd like to have a on-base firing range, but I don't believe that's possible. I believe the weapons safe on base thing is a radius around the base, and if it is, there's no way I can add an exception to that. I'd like to change the NATO aircraft over to the GAR equivalents, so if I go into the units and I go to planes, like the Thunderbolt, for example, I can't... Oh. Yeah, no, I can't spawn that. Armed aircraft currently disabled. I can't add the Thunderbolt. I can't add the Wipeout. I can't add any of those. But those are all the base planes, right? Those are all the base planes. What I'd like to be able to do is add things like the Y-Wings, the ARC 170s, the V19s, and the Z95s, as well as... pretty much anything else I can get my hands on. I believe the Jedi Starfighter's in the game, but I'm not sure which one that is. So I've got to change the NATO aircraft over to the GAR equivalents. So when the CAS is spawning in an aircraft, he's not getting an A-10 Warthog when he wants a Y-Wing. CSAT units over to JLTS or 717th droids. So I've got here the 717th battle droids, and the reason I'm doing 717th in particular is oh cool, so I don't actually need to change the uniforms. Awesome. If I... Oh no, I don't want them to move there. If I teleport myself here and quickly crouch so that they can't see me, I need... do I have an EMP? I do not have an EMP grenade equipped, so I just need to go over to the arsenal. Arsenal... yeah, that'll do. That'll do, big, that'll do. I need the 717 droid poppers. And then I need to come back over here. And, if I just do not throw grenade... Oh, you nerd. You absolute nerd. So we'll take these guys. over here, and I will teleport myself over here. And that is not... Well, eventually I'll run out of M84s and white smokes. Aha! There we go. It was rebound to a different button. Alright, so if I just pop a droid popper down there, an EMP explosion will go off, and those droids I will not have to worry about. Those droids, however, are a different story. So yeah, those droids are now completely dead, and I don't have to put up with their bullshit anymore. So if I can just change the CSAT units, or the CSAT units, to have the droid uniforms, then the droid uniforms and no helmet, obviously. They wouldn't really need a helmet. That should be a relatively easy thing to do, because Quicksilver already has something that kind of changes the loadouts. Speaking of which, droid loadouts to predetermined arsenal loadouts, I actually have those configured. I'm considering switching them to the LS weaponry, because the JLTS ones might be too powerful. However, that's going to be a non-issue if I do what I'm planning on, and adding no bullet drop to the LS weapons, for which there is a plugin on the Steam Workshop. Continuing on, let's just see. CSAT fighters over to CIS equivalent, as well as the vehicles. Same thing, basically, for the NATO aircraft. Side mission rewards over to Star Wars and Operation Trebuchet equivalent. That one's going to be a little more difficult because of the balancing between the different mods. This is actually one of the problems that I was going to run into eventually, whether I wanted to or not, and it's something that I really have no control over. The mods are all balanced differently. So Legion Base has different mods from... Legion Base has different balancing from just like the simulations, which has different balancing from 3AS, although those are along the same lines, given that they're kind of... I believe JLTS is a dependency of 3AS. So that's just something I've got to take into consideration. And these two are kind of one and the same. I've got to hard code the server add-on difficulty settings and then replace ACE no medical with regular ACE, and that will fix all of my dependency issues and hopefully allow the server to restart on its own. And I believe that's it for the showcase at this point. I am very glad that I actually decided to bite the bullet and... oh, yeah, you can see that those LAATs have respawned by now. I am very glad that I was able to get the smokestacks in, because that was a staple to me for the regular Invade and Annex. It's going to look absolutely amazing when it reaches the nighttime cycle. And that's basically where I am with this. Hopefully I don't run into a completely... unsolvable problem, because that would be really unfortunate. I do not want to cancel this project. Kind of a sunk cost fallacy at this point. I've just put so much into it. I actually want to... So what is going on here? Note to any potential Zeus's or mission designers, you might want to look into basically stopping troops from going in and out of there. It's kind of a trap. I don't know what's going on with that platform. It just does not want to be a platform. I might have it like a fraction of a millimeter too high. Who knows? But, yeah. So, thank you very much for listening to me ramble about this project that I've been working on for over a year at this point. Like I say, that's due to my work schedule. I have fairly brutal hours and then no work for a month to a month and a half. I've been on medical leave for around about a week, so with that and the layoff coming up, hopefully I can get some more work done on this. Well, I might talk to Clock about that, but never mind. Like I say, thank you very much, and I hope to be able to give you something a little more concrete here in a month or so. Have a good one.